We continue now at the top of Daf Vavam and Beis in Mesechet Sanhedrin. This is Sanhedrin Daf 15b. On the previous summit, the Gemara brought the Mishnah which said that when it comes to a shor haniskal, that is an ox that is being stoned because it kills a person, you need to have 23 judges, and the Mishnah learned that out from the pasuk. The pasuk says, "Ashor yisakil v'gam ba'olav yumas." We understand that to mean kemisas habaylim kach misas hashor. Just like, let's say, you're going to put a person to death, so you're going to have 23 judges. So too, when you're going to put the shor, when you're going to put the animal to death, you need to have 23 judges. And on the previous summit, Abaya asked Rava, who says that that's what the pasuk is for? Because Eimol liktala hudasa, maybe we should understand the pasuk according to its simple explanation. It says Hashor yisakel v'gam ba'olav yumas. It means liktala. It means to say that you're going to kill the owner as well. You're not only going to give the death penalty to the animal, but also the owner of the animal that killed the person also gets the death penalty. Maybe that's what the pasuk actually means. And Rashi explains, maybe we're saying that the bailim, the owners, are chayiv misa. He's liable to the death penalty. How can you take the pasuk out of its simple understanding entirely? And the Gemara continues, the reason why we don't say that is because im kain, if that's what the pasuk meant, that we give the death penalty to the owner, lichto v'gam ba'olav, it could just say also the owner. V'lishtok, and then be silent. It doesn't need to say v'gam ba'olav yumas, and so therefore, that's how we understand, that's why we understand that the pasuk does not mean the death penalty for the owner. But the Gemara continues, Ikasav Rachman Hachi, but if that's what the pasuk said, let's say it just said V'gam ba'olav, like you are suggesting, Hav Amina b'skila, so then I would have thought that you're going to give skila, you're going to give stoning to the owner, which you certainly would not do. And that's why it needs to say V'gam ba'olav you must. But again, the Gemara is saying, maybe the pasuk actually means that the owner does get the death penalty. And Rashi explains, Ikasav Hachi Kushi, this is all part of the question. Kolomar means to say, Itztrich you must. We need the word you must. It needs to say V'gam ba'olav you must. To say that he gets the general kind of death penalty that applies to people in these situations, which is the death penalty of chenek, strangulation. To lo teima gam ba'olav yisakal, you shouldn't think that the owner is also going to get skila just like the axe. That you shouldn't think. But the Gemara continues, would we really think that? Would we really think that the owner gets skila? Katal iu b'sayif. If the owner himself would kill someone, let's say he did it, the action himself, he would get sayif, he would be killed by beheading with a sword. And memono beskila, now you're saying that if his property, his ox kills a person, then he's going to get skila. That wouldn't make sense. So of course we wouldn't say that. And so therefore, again, we're back to our original question. Why not just say v'gam ba'olav? And from the fact that it says v'gam ba'olav you must, that's why we learn what it really means again. It's kamisas habaylim, kach misas hashor. But the Gemara still continues, v'dilma, but maybe, hay dekasav rachmana you must, maybe the real reason why it says you must is la'akule ilav, in order to make a little more lenient from him, le'afuke misayif l'chenek, because we're saying he doesn't get sayif, and he gets the more lenient punishment of chenek. And so then we're back to our question, because again, maybe the pasuk really is supposed to be interpreted in the simple manner that it's saying that the owner gets chenek. And the Gemara says, hanichol amanda amar chenek chamor. Now it's good, according to the one who says that chenek is actually stricter. It's a stricter form of a death penalty than sayif. So then you can't say that that's the reason why it says v'gam ba'olav yumas. And again, we know that he's not going to get skila. It makes no sense that he gets skila for his animal killing if the most he's going to get is sayif when he kills. And if you say chenek is chamor, chenek is stricter, so then again, of course, we would say he gets sayif. Sayif would be the lowest form of the death penalty. And so then the word you must really would be an extra word. And we can say that because of that extra word, we understand that it really means kemisas habaylim kach misas hashor. Elalamandam are chenek kil, but according to the one who says that chenek is actually more lenient, so then again, we are back to our question. Maybe the word you must is to say specifically you don't get sayif, but you get chenek. And again, maybe we really do say the owner is going to get the death penalty. And so the Gemara therefore says, Michael Amemar, again, according to the one who says chenek is more lenient, what are you going to say? We're back to our question. Maybe v'gam ba'olav you must really means that the owner gets the death penalty. And the Gemara says there's no way that you can say that. Lo sal kadaitach, it shouldn't enter your mind that the owner gets the death penalty. Techsiv, because it's written in the pasuk, im kofer yushas olav. It talks about the payment that he has to pay of kofer. V'isal kadaitach bar katalu. Now, if you think he's supposed to get the death penalty, but it's also written lo sikhu kofer L'nefesh rotzech. We don't take a payment of kofar for somebody who's a murderer. That person gets the death penalty. So once we're already giving a punishment that you have to pay kofar in a situation where your animal kills a person, that itself tells us that there is no death penalty. But the Gemara continues, who says, Adrab, on the contrary, Mishum higufetz, maybe for that reason itself. Katal iyu, maybe it means as follows. When he himself kills, lo tizgi le b'mamona, then it's not enough to pay money, you can't pay kofar, ela b'ktala, rather the person gets the death penalty. But katal shoro, but maybe when his ox kills, so livrok nafshe b'mamona, he's actually able to redeem himself by paying money, meaning to say, maybe he really is liable to the death penalty, but he can get out of that death penalty by paying money. And so still the Gemara is left with the question, maybe this person, this owner of the animal, really is liable technically to the death penalty, even if he could get out of it by paying money, but he's still liable, and that's what the pasuk means. And so the Gemara gives another answer. Amar Chizkiah, rather Chizkiah says, V'chein Tana devei Chizkiah, and it was also taught like that in the yeshiva of Chizkiah. Amar Kra, the pasuk says, Mos yumos hamake rotzeachu. It says that the rotzeach, the murderer, he gets the death penalty. And we learn from there, al ritzichaso ata hargo, only if he's the one that commits the murder do we kill him, then he gets the death penalty. V'i ata hargo al ritzichashor. We don't kill a person if his ox commits the murder, and that's how we know, again, it certainly is not talking about the death penalty, rather it means kamisas habaylim, kach misas hashor, as we said. And Rashi explains, Mishum hi gufa, the Gemara said it's because of that itself, meaning to say, Mishum hach kasha gufa, because of that question itself. Delote malosichu kofer kasav rachmana v'liktal. Don't say that the pasuk says you don't take kofer, you don't take a payment for a murderer, and he should get the death penalty. Kasav rachmana v'nasan pidya nafsha. That's why the pasuk says, by this case where the person's animal kills, it says that he pays that redemption of his soul. L'meimar, and it means exactly this. It means to say, dehecha dekat al iu, that if he himself kills, lo tiski leva mamona, then paying money is not going to help. He has to get the death penalty. Aval kat al shora, but if his ox kills, sagi leva mamona, then he can get out of the death penalty by paying money. Vi lo yoev kofer chayev chenek, but if he wouldn't pay that money, if he doesn't pay that kofer, he would be chayev chenek. Maybe again the pasuk meant that he's chayev that punishment of strangulation. And again the Gemara learned out from the pasuk al ritzichaso atahargo, that you're only going to kill a person if he murders, but not al ritzichas shoro, not if his ox murders. And the Gemara continues, they had the following question, Shor Sinai, what about the shore, the ox that would have been at Har Sinai, Bekama, how many judges does that need to put the ox to death? Rashi explains, Shor Sinai, Behema Shekarva Lahar. This is talking about an animal that gets too close to the mountain. By Har Sinai, they were supposed to stay away from the mountain, Beocha Shechina Sham, while the Shechina was resting on Har Sinai, Techsiv Behema Imish Lo Yichya. It says whether animal, whether a man gets close to the mountain, Lo Yichya, he should not live. So the Gemara is asking, Bekama, Dayanim Nidon. So how many Dayanim, how many judges would be used for putting that kind of shore to death in that situation? And that was the Gemara's question. And the Gemara continues and explains, Migamar Shah Midoros. Do we learn out Shah, something that was just for a moment in time? That halacha by Har Sinai was not forever, but we should learn out Midoros from the case of a shore and Niskal, where we say that the animal is stoned, and there are 23 judges. Oh, lower, maybe we don't learn out Shah Midoros. That by Har Sinai is something that was only temporary. We can't learn that out from the standard case. And the Gemara says, Tashma, coming here the following proof to Tani Rami Bar Yecheskel, because Rami Bar Yecheskel taught, in Behema Imish Lo Yichya, it says, whether it be an animal, whether it be a man, he cannot live, again, by one who gets close to Har Sinai, and we learn from that to compare one to the other, Ma'ish B'chav Gimel, Af Behema B'chav Gimel, just like the man would be judged with 23 judges, so too the animal will be judged with 23 judges. And Rashi explains, Ma'ish B'chav Gimel, the Ish Pshitolan, by a man it's obvious, T'chvar Hukvu Li Yisrael Sanhedros, Mi Yisro Ve'elach, you already have Sanhedrins, you already have these Batei Dinim for that from the time of Yisro and onwards, so we know that by an Ish it's going to be B'chav Gimel, and we learn out by an animal the same is true. And the Gemara continues at the two dots. The Mishnah said, Ho'ariva ha'ze'ev v'chulu, by the lion and the wolf and other wild animals. The Tanakama says they're killed with 23 judges. And the Mishnah goes on to say that according to Rabbi Eliezer, Kol hakodem lahargan zocha, whoever kills them first is going to be zocha, which the Gemara will explain. And the Gemara now says, Amar Reish Lakish says, V'hu shehi miso, this halacha is true. It is only true if these animals actually kill. Avaloe misolo, but if the animals don't kill, then we don't apply this. And Rashi explains, Amar Reish Lakish, Hada Amar Rabbi Eliezer, Kol hakodem lahargan zocha. When Rabbi Eliezer says whoever kills them is zocha, V'hu shehi miso nefesh, Rabbi Eliezer means if you kill these wild animals, that killed a person. Va'amilsa the Tanakama, meaning to say, Rabbi Eliezer is going on what the Tanakama said. The Ayri Kashay Miso Koi Rabbi Eliezer. The Tanakama was saying that if these animals kill, then they're killed with a bezin of 23. And then Rabbi Eliezer responds, if these animals kill, Kol HaKodem Lahargon Zocha. That's Reish Lakish's understanding. Again, Avalohe Misulo, according to Rabbi Eliezer, if these animals don't kill, then we don't apply the rule of Kol HaKodem Lahargon Zocha, again, which the Gemara will explain. And the Gemara says, Alma Kasavar, we see the Reish Lakish holds, Yesh Lehen Tarbus, it's possible to domesticate these animals, V'yesh Lehen Bailam, and they're considered to have owners. And Rashi explains, Yesh Lem Tarbus mutter legadlin. It means to say it's mutter to raise these animals because they can be domesticated. Lafisha Adam Yachol Lamdan Shaliazik, a person can teach them not to damage. Hilkach Shem Bailam Nikra Alei, and therefore it's considered like they have owners. V'lo have a hefker, they're not considered ownerless. V'asr Lahargonim Lohim Miso, and according to Reish Lakish, a person is not allowed to kill these animals if the animals haven't killed. Avol Im Hey Miso, now if these animals killed, Sofan Mochiach Al Tchilosan, then already you can see from what happened that already they couldn't be domesticated. Shalo Elu B'nei Tarbus, that these particular animals were not possible to domesticate these animals, Vein Srichin Ladunan, and therefore the point is, Rabbi Eliezer says, you don't need to put them through the court system, so to speak. We just say, Kol HaKodem Lahargon is going to be Zocha in that situation. That's how Reish Lakish understands Rabbi Eliezer. And the Gemara continues, Rabbi Yochanan Amar Rabbi Yochanan says, Afal Pi Shalohi Miso. Even though these animals did not kill, we still say, Kol HaKodem Lahargon Zocha, Alma Kasavar Ein Lam Tarbus. You see, Rabbi Yochanan holds it's impossible to domesticate these animals. The Ein Lam Bailam, it's not considered like they have owners, they're considered to be ownerless. And Rashi explains, Rabbi Yochanan Amar Afal Gav Shalohi Misu, Amar Rabbi Eliezer Kol HaKodem Lahargon Zocha. Even though they didn't kill, Rabbi Eliezer says, whoever's first to kill them will be Zocha. V'achi Kamer Leila Tanakama, and this is what Rabbi Eliezer is saying to the Tanakama. The Kol Amar Kashay Miso Tzrichi Chav Gimel Dayanim, you're saying that if these animals kill, you need 23 judges. Ani Omer, I say, Afilu Loe Miso, even if they don't kill at all, Mutter Lahargon, it's mutter to kill them. Kol HaKodem, anyone who kills them first, V'chol Shekenim Miso, and certainly if they killed, certainly anyone can put them to death. Ve'ein lahem bailam, and Rabbi Yochanan holds they don't, and that's not considered that they have owners. Kilomar ein shem habailam chol aleim. The name of the owner, so to speak, is not chal on them. It's not considered like they're owned at all. V'lo havel kehefker, they're considered ownerless. Lefish lo hayalo legadon, because he never should have raised them in the first place. Again, that's the opinion of Rabbi Yochanan. And the Gemara continues, Tanan, we learned in the Mishnah. Rabbi Eliezer says, Kol HaKodem Lahargon Zocha, whoever is first to kill them is going to be Zocha. And the Gemara says, Bishlomo Rabbi Yochanan. Now, it makes sense according to Rabbi Yochanan, because again, Rabbi Yochanan says we're talking about animals even that have not killed. So, Lemai Zocha, what does it mean? Rabbi Eliezer says whoever kills them is Zocha. What does he merit? Zocha La'oren. What it means is that he merits to get the hide of the animal. And Rashi explains, Zocha mashma nistaker. Zocha sounds like he has some profit. So Zocha ba'orin, he gets the or. Ha'or shalo, he gets to keep the hide of the animal. Kevan de'ein lahem bailim, because the point is, according to Rabbi Yochanan, in general, this animal is not considered to have owners. It's considered to be ownerless. And that's how we can explain. According to Rabbi Yochanan, we can explain what it means. Kol hakodim lahargan zocha. We're talking about an animal that's considered to be not owner, that's considered to have no owners. So Zocha la'oran. Ela l'reish lakish. But according to Reish Lakish, what's Rabbi Eliezer talking about? He's talking about an animal that already has killed a person. That's essentially chayav misa. So lamai zocha. So then, what is the person who's killing the animal? What is he zocha to? What is he getting? Kevan shei misa. If this animal already killed, shavinu rabbanon command the gamar dinayu. So the rabbanon are saying there's like a gamar din. There's like a verdict that this animal is supposed to be put to death. V'isure hanon, and it's considered to be that this is aser b'hana. When you have an animal that's chayav misa, when you have a shor haniskal, a shor that needs to be stoned, we say that that's considered aser b'hana. You cannot derive benefits, so you wouldn't be able to keep the or, you wouldn't be able to keep the hide. So what does it mean, zacha, according to Reish Lakish? And the Gemara says, well, my zacha, what does the word zacha mean, according to Reish Lakish? It means to say zacha l'shamayim. It means he has merit when it comes to the heavens. The heavens will consider what he did, that it's considered to be an action that has merit. And Rashi explains, Kevan dehi miso v'amar abanon de'in sarech ladonon bebezin. If the animal already killed, but you don't even need to bring it to court, havalu command gamar dinayu. So it says if you have a verdict, v'asira b'hanan, we'll say it's aser b'hanan, kedekayim alon. That's what we've established. Shem shachtu la'achar shenigmar dino aser. If you shachted after the gemar din, it's aser b'hana, b'perek short shenogach. That's what it says in Bava Kama. And the Gemara says zacha l'shamayim. The Gemara says according to Reish Lakish, zacha means that it's considered to be a merit that which he did. And the Gemara continues, Tanya Kavase de Reish Lakish. We have a brisa that supports Reish Lakish. Echad shor shehemis, whether it's an ox that kills, v'echad behema v'chaya shemisu, or whether it's a domesticated animal or a wild animal that kills, b'chaf Gimel, you need 23 judges. Rabbi Eliezer says, Shor shehemis be'esr mushlosha. If a shor kills, 23 judges then. Ushar behema v'chaya shemisu. And when it comes to other animals that kill, kol hakodim lahargan zacha bohen la shamayim. Whoever goes ahead and kills them first, he's going to get a zechus in shamayim. You see that we're talking about a zechus in shamayim, and again, that was what we explained within the shita of Reish Lakish. And the Gemara continues at the two dots. The Mishnah went on to say, Rabbi Akiva Omer v'chulu, that Rabbi Akiva says by these wild animals, it's with 23 judges. And the Gemara notes, Rabbi Akiva haino Tanakama, isn't Rabbi Akiva the same as the Tanakama? They both say 23 judges. And the Gemara answers to that, Ika beinayu nachash, the difference between them is by a nachash, by a snake. Rashi explains, Ika beinayu nachash, the Tanakama choshev le bahade hanoch, the Tanakama includes snake among that list, u'bay chav gimel requires 23 judges. Rabbi Akiva be'inoch svir le kavase bar mi nachash. Rabbi Akiva agrees by the other animals, but not by a snake. Like it says in Arba Avos Nezikin, like it says in Bava Kama, a nachash is considered a muad liolam, according to all opinions. It's always considered to be an animal that is accustomed to causing damage, and therefore Rabbi Akiva does not agree when it comes to a nachash. And the point over here would be that according to Rabbi Akiva, again, you would not need 23 judges when it comes to putting the snake to death. And the Gemara continues at the two dots. The Mishnah said, Ein danin v'chulu, when it comes to judging an entire shevet, an entire tribe, you need the Bezdin of 71, you need the Sanhedrin Gedola. And the Gemara says, Hai shevet dechata b'mai. When we're talking about this shevet that sinned, what was the sin that we're talking about? Ilema shevet shechil es haShabbos. If you say we're talking about an entire shevet that's mechalel Shabbos, that desecrate the Shabbos, Eimer depolig rachmana ben yechidim lemerubin le'inyan avodas kochavim. I understand. We can say that the Torah makes a distinction between individuals and between a large number of people when it comes, let's say, to avodah zara. But b'shar mitzvahs mipolig, do we find such an idea when it comes to other mitzvahs? And Rashi explains, le'inyan avodah zara chilek ben yechidim lemerubim. We find there's a distinction between individuals doing avodah zara and between a large group of people doing avodah zara. Where do we find that? The ir hanidachas, you find that by nir hanidachas. That's when a city, when all the people of a city worship avodah zara. That's called ir hanidachas. Boy Sanhedrin Gedola, that requires the great Sanhedrin. K'diyolef l'kamon, like we're going to learn out later on. V'yachin nidon b'chav gimel, when it comes to one person that worships avodah zara, it's 23 judges. T'chsiv v'otzei so ishahu v'chulu el sha'arecha bezdin sha'arecha. It says you take him shebisharecha, you take him to your gates, meaning the court that's in your gates. That refers to a court of 23, and so therefore that's true by avodah zara. But again, that's not true by other mitzvahs. So what are we talking about over here when we talk about a shevet that sins? And so the Gemara continues, Ella b'shevet shehudach. Rather, we're talking exactly this case. We're talking about a shevet that got involved in avodah zara, like the language, the word hudach, like the word ir hanidachas. And the Gemara says, Lememra dividina derabim dainina le. But does that mean to say that in such a situation we considered a judgment of the rabbim, of the public? Rashi explains, Lememra deshevet shalim shehudach. Does that mean to say that if you have an entire shevet that they worship avodah zara, bedina derabim dainina le kedina dir hanidachas, we treat that like an ir hanidachas. Demikri merubin, we call that the public that's sinning, dainina le b'sayif uva Sanhedrin Gedola, that there the judgment is going to be beheading by the sword, and we're going to use the Sanhedrin Gedola. Is that really true? The Gemara says, Kiman, who would that follow? Lo Rabbi Yoshia, v'lo Rabbi Yonasan. That would not follow Rabbi Yoshia, and it would not follow Rabbi Yonasan. Titania, because we learned in a brisa, Ad kama os an ir hanidachas, until what? Until what amount do we say that something is an ir hanidachas? Miyud v'ad kuf. It's from 10 to 100. Divrei Rabbi Yoshia, that's the words of Rabbi Yoshia. And Rabbi Yonasan omer mikuf v'ad rubo shel shevet. It's from 100 until the majority of a shevet. V'afilu Rabbi Yonasan lo kamer. And even Rabbi Yonasan, when he mentioned shevet, he only said ela rubo. He said the majority. Aval kulo lo, but he did not say the entire shevet. And Rashi explains, Me'asara v'yad meya, again, according to Rabbi Yoshi, it's from 10 to 100, means Batzer Me'asara, if it's less than 10, lo mikri ir, that would not be called a city, that would not be an ir nidachas. Utfeimi meya, and if it's more than 100, nafkami Torahs ir, that's actually too much to be considered a city. V'havilu tzibor, that would actually be in the category of a tzibor. Uvetzibor lo chsiv sayif, by a tzibor, it does not say that the punishment is sayif. Hilkach kol echon nidon b'fnei atzma uveskila. Everyone would have their own individual judgment, and the punishment would be skila in such a situation. And even Rabbi Yonasan, when he said 100, he said 100 until rubo shel shevet. He didn't say the entire shevet. Our Mishnah seems to be talking about the entire shevet. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rav Masna says, Hacha over here, and we will continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Tazayin Amid Aleph.